Hello to my favorite poets. It is writing time again. And today we are going to listen to another poem. That's right. We listened to the weather poem yesterday, and it helped us write a poem about sounds again. And today we're going to be reading a poem and really thinking not about what we see, what we hear. Well, it is what we see, but it's with movement. We're not just describing what something looks like today, we're describing how it moves. So we'll be using a lot of verbs, a lot of action verbs. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you today's poem. It's called Fish. So take a second and I want you to just picture a fish and what it looks like moving through the water, or what it might look like if someone's going fishing and hooks that fish and he's trying to survive for his life. Have you ever been fishing and seen that? All right, let me read you this poem and see if you can picture all these movements. Fish by Mary Ann Hoberman. Look at them flit, lickety split, wiggling, swiggling, swerving, curving, hurrying, scurrying, chasing, racing, whizzing, whisking, flying, frisking, tearing around with a leap and a bound, but none of them making the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest sound. Look at how the author wrote this, and then the tiniest, 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 she kind of like wrote getting smaller. So yeah, this is not going to be a noise poem, right? Because these fish aren't making noise, but they are moving a lot. Let me hear some of the words that you picked out that the poet used to describe the movement. I'll read it again and tell me the words. Look at them flit, lickety split, wiggling, swiggling, swerving, curving. Okay, tell me the words I said so far. Wiggling, that's a movement. Let me see you wiggle. Swiggling, I don't know if that's a real word. I've never heard it. What else? Swerving, that's like when you take a turn. Swerving. What else? Hurrying, when you're in a hurry, you do things really fast. Scurrying, that's like moving along very quickly too. Chasing, let me see you chase someone. Ah. Racing, that's a movement really fast. Whizzing, like it whizzed by. And I'll add one more. How about flying? Notice in this poem, all of those movements end with ing. That means something is happening now. Okay, so let's see. We saw all of these movement words. Now we're going to work together to write a poem like this, but about something else that moves. So let's work together to come up with a list of things that move. What things can you think of that move? A car, yep. A roller coaster. How about what else? A dancer, a baseball player, a lion, a butterfly. What else moves? Maybe look around. A worm. Good. You could probably go on and on with this list. So we're going to pick one to write about together, and then you're going to be writing a poem on your own. So let's see. Which one should we write about together? Maybe a butterfly? All right. So let's go ahead and get our notebooks out. I'm going to pretend this is my notebook. And we are going to use, I'm going to write the title at the top. It's about a butterfly. And we're going to use our inspiration from the poem that we read today. So I'm going to need your help. Let's look back at this poem. How did it start? It started with the line, look at them. So we're going to start the same way. And what are some movements that butterflies do? Well, yeah, they fly. So let's start with that. Look at them fly. And now let's look back at the poem. Lickety split, they said. And then they just listed all these different movements. And at the end, they picked one word to repeat. Okay, so we have to list a whole bunch of ways butterflies move. Look at them fly. Well, what do their wings do? Flapping, maybe flitting, fluttering, fluttering, flapping, fluttering. Sometimes they almost look like they're floating, floating. All of those start with F. Sometimes I get stuck. Do you ever get stuck when you're trying to write? What's another movement butterflies do? They flap their wings, they fly around. Gliding, maybe? They glide? Gliding, soaring, like high into the sky. There, I think that's good. And then we're going to need a word. Let's look back at this poem with a leap and a bound. So maybe we could say all of them. Look at them fly. What could all the butterflies doing? All of them looking very, very, very colorful. We got to repeat a word. Let's try that. Very, very, very colorful. I don't know. What do you think of our poem, my friends? Let's read it. Butterfly. And we're writing about more than one butterfly, so let's change it to butterflies. Butterflies. Look at them fly, flapping, fluttering, floating, gliding, soaring. All of them looking very, very, very colorful. I think it sounds nice. So remember, sometimes I got stuck, and sometimes you might get stuck too. Your first job today is to pick what you're going to write about that moves. It could be an animal, an athlete, a vehicle, could do plane. It doesn't have to be on this list. And then if you want to make a list of all the way it moves, like we did from this poem, you can. Or if you want to hop right into your writing your poem, you can. Remember to copy us and start like this. Start with look at them and end with all of them and put all the movements in between. I know you got this. You're a great poet. I can't wait to hear your poem. Happy writing!